Welcome back into another edition of Prime Sports World. On today's show, we're going to break down week number 9 of the XFL. We're going to give you our predictions for week number 10, the final week of the regular season. That has gone by like that. Let me tell you, I'm, of course, your host, David. I'm hoping right there, my co-host, Mr. TJ Hopkins. Thank you very much for checking us out. Like, share, and subscribe. And if you do happen to miss us live, I've shared the link to our streaming platform, so check us out over there as well. TJ, happy Tuesday, my friend. It's getting warmer here in Fort Wayne after a couple days of real cold.
Yeah, just need it.
And,
I hope we're done with it.
Things are heating up just like the XFL season as we get closer to the playoffs. A couple really good games this past weekend. 3 of them resolved by single digits. So, kudos to, the XFL. Let's go into it right away. Let's talk about the Roughnecks. Roughnecks go into the Las Vegas to welcome in the Roughnecks. They come out victorious, 21-28. This is a game at the beginning was not going the Roughnecks' way. They were down 12-0 at half, or 12-0 at the middle of the second quarter. But they scored 2 defensive touchdowns in a row and basically blow out Vegas. They should try to make things interesting late. But Roughnecks 28-21. Jalen McClellan Pretty good game here for him. 27 of 37, 249, 2 touchdowns. John Lovett, 9 catches, 49 yards, and a tut. The lone receiving touchdown was caught by Sequin Sweetney. Brandon Silver really, really struggled in this game, to say the least. 16 and 27, 105 yards, and 2 interceptions. Max Borghi, Bryce Allen, both had rushing touchdowns, and Justin Smith, leading receiver, 2 catches for 26 yards. But the play that everybody kind of was talking about in this game, at least I personally while watching it, Martavis Bryant literally had the football ripped from him and taken into the end zone. Like, he caught it, and they were down at like the 5-yard line or something. He caught it on a swing route, and he just tore it for him, and he took it into the end zone for a house call. And basically tied the game. And the Roughnecks really didn't have anything going at that point. Their offense was really sluggish again in this game. If their defense wasn't so good in this game, they lose this game.
If their defense wasn't so good in this game, they lose this game. They also played a 2-7 team that showed why they're 2-7.
Yeah, I mean, they had less yards, they had more turnovers, less first downs. The only area that they really won this game was time possession. They had 43 minutes of time possession. That doesn't sound right. 43 31? That doesn't sound right.
We also got to understand, because of the XFL's conversion rate, the conversion thingy, that 12-0 isn't a big lead.
No, it's not. No, it's still a 2-possession game, but you can a field goal and a touchdown, you're back, and you tie the game up.
Right, you're back in it, and that's what happened. They get a touchdown, then they get another touchdown, then they went for one, they got it, and then now you're down 13-12.
And they never look back. Another thing that I completely forgot to complain about this at the beginning of the show. ESPN. I know I harp on this. Nothing will ever change unless we continue to complain about stuff like this, right, TJ?
I guess.
So ESPN, why do you not care about the XFL? They had games on their networks on ABC, and yet when you go to like the sports and go to like the top sports, the XFL is not listed. What do they got? They got 2 soccer clubs. They got a NCAA. No offense to any of these sports, right? No, I'm not trying to be offensive here, but they have a softball. They have NCAA baseball. They got 3 golf tournaments. They have 3 separate soccer leagues, but the XFL isn't listed. How do you not have the XFL listed? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I had to go to the XFL page to check the scores there.
If you go to the search bar on ESPN's website and you type in XFL, everything is right there.
I know, but if you're gonna broadcast this stuff on your own networks, why would you have it as one of your top events going on? Like, just so people can just scroll down and see that that's going on and click on it. They have to go to another page. It's just
you didn't even have to go to another page.
ESPN, no, step up your game. I'm tired of this.
You didn't even have to go to another page. I'm literally on the ESPN app. I literally typed in XFL, and everything I need is right here. It's like, that's not a big deal. Like, that's not.
They could do better.
A big deal.
There could be a better. They could for sure be doing better. But yeah, this basically the first 3 possessions for the Roughnecks were all resulted in turnovers, interception, a fumble, then a fumble return for a touchdown by the Vipers. Just sloppy play by the Roughnecks as they continue to kind of limp into the playoffs.
It hasn't been a good second half of the season for them, and
they're just lucky that they play in like the worst division.
The worst division. This is like their second win. Second win since starting 4-0.
Yeah, they've absolutely super next level struggled, and they're gonna have to get it together. And also, ESPN, why does it say that Houston Roughnecks had the football for 43 minutes and Vegas had it for 31? That math does not add up unless I'm just off.
No, it says it on the app too. 43 to 31.
Like that doesn't add up, right? That's not the right. It can't possibly be the right number. I mean, me and ESPN are gonna just go to toe eventually with this XFL.
But how you gonna what makes you think it's not the right number? How could it not?
There's only 16 minutes in a football game. It's 43 plus 31 is an hour and 15, or yeah, an hour and 15 minutes, whatever that math is.
Well, stuff happens. Who knows?
I mean, nobody catches this stuff. No, this has been like this for 3 days. Nobody noticed. Nobody cares. Like, come on.
Again, you're like nitpicking. Like, oh, the time of possession's wrong. Fix, like, bro, who cares?
People
Seriously,
care, dude. You did
no,
not.
you care.
No, you did not understand. No, I work at a TV station, right?
Okay,
If we had little tiny mistakes like this, and like little tiny mistakes, like we get cold calls about it constantly
like from who?
from viewers, like calling and be like, "Oh yeah, you got this is wrong." We have a guy who's the media maven, who all he does his entire life is just he sits on his internet, he goes online, and he critiques web articles written by every station in our network.
Man, David, this is what you do. This is you call ESPN and you let them know, hey, the time of possession in the Roughnecks Vipers game just doesn't add up. There's only X amount of minutes in the game, and one team had the ball for 43 minutes. That can't be right. That math isn't. Then you become that media maven. That's what you do.
I don't want to do that.
Then shut up about it. If you don't want to do that, then stop complaining about it. Like,
all right, fine. All right, fine. Let's move on to the other game. Let's talk about the Guardians, Brahmas. This game came right down to the wire. Orlando Guardians had an opportunity to tie this game. They scored a touchdown. They could win for 2. They did not get it. And then, they could have gone for the 4th down conversion. They chose to kick it deep. The Brahmas, they just never got the football back. San Antonio Brahmas ran it down their throats. That's just the way it goes. And Jack Cohen, his best game as a member of the XFL by far in this game. 25 of 31, 302 yards, 1 touchdown. Jacquez Patrick continues to play well as the running back for the San Antonio Brahmas. 20 of 80, 1 touchdown. And the lone receiving touchdown was from Travis. Oh, man, I'm not really 100% sure how to pronounce that last name, so I'm not going to try. And then on the other side, Quentin Dormady continued to play so. This he got hurt part of it, and DeAndre Francois had to come in. 1 touchdown, 1 pick for him. Francois did score throw a touchdown. Devin Darlington had a great game here for the Guardians. 16 carries for 133 yards and a touchdown. That comes up to 8.3 yards per carry. And then Andrew Jamil and Jordan Thomas all had received touchdowns for the Guardians. But yeah, this really comes down to that decision making. After you didn't pick up that 2-point conversion to tie the game, this is in the 4th quarter, would you have gone for it on the 4th and 15 instead of kicking it deep?
With just under 4 minutes left,
Yeah.
Well, it depends on how my defense has been playing the whole game. I see that Patrick had basically he averaged 4 yards a carry. That eats a lot of time pretty quick because again,
San Antonio won time possession 31-28.
Is that better for you? Does that make a lot more sense?
Thanks, TJ. Yes, it does make.
But so yeah, 1st and 10, you average 4 yards. That's 2nd and 6. 2nd and 6, you run it again. That's 3rd and 2.
I mean that's essentially what happened. They literally just were like, you know what, we're just gonna run it down your throats, and Orlando never touched the football again. And that's kind of one of those things where you got to kind of use the rules of the league to your advantage, right? Like even if you don't pick that up, right? Let's say you don't pick up the 4th and 15. That doesn't mean the game is over. If your defense can hold there, you can hold a limit to a field goal. You still need a touchdown.
But at the same time, that gives them the ball.
Yeah.
Basically at midfield, right?
Yeah, I mean it's the gamble you have to run, but it didn't really matter because they didn't make any stops at all.
I probably would have kicked it deep. I don't think I would have went for it.
It's very easy to be the Monday morning quarterback, right? Like critique the decisions later. Like I also like the broadcast was kind of complaining about making that decision. I actually agreed with the decision at the time. Like kick it deep. Maybe your defense can get a stop, and they just never could. And this is why the Guardians are 1-8. I mean,
because the logic behind it is like, all right, it's 4 minutes left, right? Like that's enough time. That's enough time.
And Orlando had a timeout, 2 timeouts, I think, left, and the 2-minute warning. You assume you're going to get that football back,
right? Yeah, that's enough time. Like so, at hindsight 2020, now you can say, oh, they probably should have went for it. But I guarantee you. Like flip side, right? Like just say this is the NFL. Same situation, right? You really think the like NFL coaches are like, "Hey, let's onside kick it with 4 minutes to go."
But I think that's a little bit different though because the onside kick isn't a guaranteed possession. When you're doing the fourth and
Neither
15,
is a fourth and 15.
you're at least going to guarantee to at least have an opportunity to have the football. It's up to you to convert it. Like
And it's up
the
to you to recover the onside kick.
I mean, the onside kick has become so difficult to convert. They might as well not even bother with it.
Like and so like let's not act like a 4th and 15 is a walk in the park
No,
either.
I'm not saying that, but at least you have more.
You have a higher chance of probably converting a 4th and 15 than you do an onside kick.
I mean, there could be
But
a penalty. There could be a penalty. I mean, there are a lot of things that could go in your
could go
favor.
yeah. But same thing is again like we're not harping over the going for it. Like it's the time of the game, right? Do you do this like with four? It's 4 minutes left in the game. That's a lot of time to be. I don't know. Like I think I would have kicked it
Because
again.
on essentially, if you don't get it, you're giving up points no matter what.
Basically.
Yeah, so like you run the risk of you have to give up points no matter what. And Jacques Patrick had it going. This also keeps the San Antonio Brahmas alive in the playoff hunt at 3-6. But
Which
yeah,
is insane, but okay.
they're still alive. I think they need Arlington to lose, and then for them to win their final game, and they will be in the playoffs. So that's an interesting dynamic there. Orlando continued to play hard. Clinton Dormady did play a suspect in this game, so we'll see if he comes back. Maybe he's coming back down to earth a little bit after the team has some tape on him. But to Sunday, we got the Renegades that I just referenced going up against the DC Defenders, and this is another game that went into overtime, 3 overtimes so far in the XFL. Renegades
all in the last 3 weeks too.
Yeah, yep. Arlington Renegades, they fall in this game 26-28. Luis Perez did play pretty solid in this game, 31 of 41, 335 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Devon Smith, leading rusher for Arlington, 12 for 43 and 2 touchdowns. Caleb Vander Esch, I think that's for sure Leighton Vander Esch's brother, right?
Yes, he is related to Leighton Vander Esch, yes.
You always give me a hard time, but that is such a weird last name. There's no
That's
way.
right. That is such an uncommon last name. There is no way they're not related.
Yeah, so he had a touchdown, a receiving touchdown in this game. On the other side, Jordan Tiamo, 14 of 20, 180 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. De'Ara King, 6 of 9, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He also had a fumble. De'Ara King also had a fumble that almost cost him the game. Abram Smith, pretty pedestrian running game for him.
Yeah, this is his worst game.
Yeah, 100% by far. 10 for 27. And then on DC Defenders, Josh Hammond had the lone receiving touchdown. Lucky Jackson, who's been balling in the XFL, 2 more touchdowns for him. As the DC Defenders kind of hold off Arlington, they were up big. Arlington goes for 17 points in the fourth quarter, ties it up, and DC just takes care of business in overtime.
And again, this is the XFL because of how you can convert things. 1-point conversion, 2-point conversion, the 3-point conversion. There's no such thing as a big lead. No big lead is safe in this game. Like, and usually when you play DC, they get up 26-9. They get up a lead like that. Yes, especially at home. Yeah, it's over. You think it's over. Then Arlington does what I didn't think they were capable of doing. They scored 17 unanswered. They tied the game.
I'm pretty shocked. I mean, the DC Defenders also gave some 11 for 52. They also, had 2 turnovers in this game. But Arlington actually outplayed DC in almost every aspect. I mean, total yards, almost 100 more, 1 less turnover, 1 time possession by almost 7 minutes. Had not 7 more turnovers than DC. Like, they played well enough to win this game.
Arlington could have won the game in regulation. Like, they went for it. I think they went for it twice. They were in the red zone. They went for it twice. They didn't get it. And after like a brief discussion, Bob Stoops sent the field goal team out and said, all right, just tie it. We'll kick it off, and then we'll go into overtime. Because I think when they kicked the field goal, it was like 3 seconds left.
5 seconds
left. 5 seconds left in regulation, and then they kick it deep, and then, all right, we're going to OT. But, yeah, they had 2 cracks at it to win it in regulation. And Bob Stoops was going for that win. Had there been a little bit more time left, I'm 100% willing to bet that he would have tried to go for it
Well,
again.
if I remember correctly, so they had to waste a timeout at one point. Like they had a timeout and they had to waste it, so they weren't able to get that other attempt in the end zone. Um,
Like nonetheless, he tried to go for it, and like he tried to go for that win, which I'm all for. Hey, go for the dub.
I'm all for the win too, especially if your playoff lives are on the line here. This game means nothing for DC because Arlington, essentially, this game was basically meaningless for them too. Regardless if they won or win or lost this game, like if they won, clinched. But if they lose this game, it doesn't hurt them. Like they still have an opportunity to clinch a playoff spot if they win next week.
Yeah.
But DC, yeah, DC's locked up everything. They're gonna have home field advantage
They don't
throughout.
have home field. Yep.
Yeah, so like, go for the win, 100%. And Lucky Jackson played well in this game. Jordan Tiamo didn't play as well as he did against the Sea Dragons
I
the
mean,
week prior.
He's efficient. 14 to 20.
Yeah.
One of the 6 passes that was incomplete was a pick. Like I'll take that any day of the week.
Yeah, I mean, basically threw 5 incompletions. I mean,
Basically.
as a starting quarterback, I'll take that on my starting quarterback every day and twice on Sunday. So kudos to DC for getting the win there. To the final game, the battle over who, like this potentially. So I'm not totally sure. I'm a little confused on the tiebreakers in the XFL. I've actually read that now the Seattle's actually in the driver's seat because of their margin of victory. Because they're all the other matrix that I can tell are all exactly the same between the Seattle Sea Dragons and the St. Louis Battlehawks. Seattle does win this game 30-12 in a game that they basically, especially in the final quarter, where they just shut the door on the St. Louis Battlehawks. Ben DiNucci, 21 of 31 for 260 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 really bad interception as he just does. He also had a rushing touchdown. TJ Hammonds had a rushing touchdown as well. Corey Pearson, Jordan Vesey also had touchdowns, receiving touchdowns. On the other side, AJ McCarron comes back off that shoulder injury. Mixed results from him for sure. 18 of 32, 186 yards, 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions. Gary Jennings, leading rusher, 4 for 35. Darius Shepard had the lone receiving touchdown for the Battlehawks. This game was relatively close up until the fourth quarter, and Seattle just scored the final 10 points of the game and shut the door.
Yeah, but real quick, thoughts and prayers to the family of Chris Smith, XFL. Seattle Sea Dragons. I think he was a DN. He passed away. He's only 31.
Yeah. He passed away today, actually. Collapsed in a parking garage.
I didn't read the details. I just saw his.
I don't think that's accurate. So,
but yeah, thoughts and prayers to the family of Chris Smith. I know that's hard to deal with, but to this game, it had the buildup of being one of those quote unquote games of the year.
Yeah.
And then Seattle just came in and
up until the fourth quarter, it was that and then Seattle just basically dominated the final quarter and the game was over.
Yeah,
after Ben DiNucci scored that rushing touchdown, it was
where he ran the old boy over. Yeah.
The game was essentially over at that point, and we're like, okay, well.
Because he ran them, and then they kicked the field goal the reason everybody is I think the St. Louis crowd wasn't too happy with them kicking that field goal left with 5 seconds, but it's
it's kind of but they need to because of the tiebreaker, they needed that. They needed to have as much margin of victory as possible.
Exactly, and he I don't think there was any hard feelings between Seattle's coach and St. Louis's coach. They talked, and the St. Louis coach was yeah, it's cool, I get it, all that good stuff. He just because it's I obviously if you do that, that's like scoring. That's like in basketball, you're up 20. Game's over, then all of a sudden the team that's up 20 just drives in for a layup. What was the point of that, right? Game's over, bro. Nobody's playing defense, all that good stuff. But yeah, these teams they both 6-3. And so Seattle needs what? They need to win next week, and somebody needs to lose, right?
No, because like I have to go back and look at the tiebreakers here. Just give me a second. Because their division record is exactly the same. The next tiebreaker is like margin of victory, which the Seattle Sea Dragons actually have a pretty wide advantage over the Battlehawks. But I have to look that up real quick. So give me just a second.
Ja'Cory Peterson, bro, did you see that Ja'Cory Peterson touchdown? Like he just bounced
Yeah,
off like
yeah,
four
yeah,
people.
yeah, yeah. It was really nice, really nice.
They call him like they call him the human joystick.
I mean, I mean that's not inaccurate. So, man, I
This
cannot
is,
find this. Hold on.
and I like, but like that's the recipe to beating the like a Seattle, not Seattle, St. Louis or a DC, especially at home. Like you take their crowd out of it, and you take them out of it early. Like yeah, like you take the win out of that. Like you take the win out of those sales, then hey, then it's like then it's basically a level playing ground. Like you can't let like we see it all the time. Like players feed off the energy of the crowd, and there's quite a few different feelings in any team sport setting, right? One is hitting the game winning shot in front of your crowd. The other is hitting the game winning shot in front of the opposing team's crowd. Because to hear all that cheering when you hit that's a different feeling. But to hear the crowd go completely silent when you're on the opposite end of it is beautiful. And there's nothing worse than when you're at home and all of a sudden it's 20-9, right? It's 20-9, then it's 20-12, and it's like, all right, one more stop in the score, we back in this thing. Then all of a sudden it's 27-12, and how they get it is not their running back, not a big name guy like Josh Gordon, not Philip Lindsay, not Ja'Cory Peterson. Ben DiNucci runs
Yeah,
a
yeah,
QB draw
yeah, yeah.
and trucks one of your defenders and then stands over him and stares him down.
And then they had the hot mic and like
And he's
so.
like, dang.
The crazy thing about it, so like they interviewed him like right after he scored, and he was like all humble, like do you know that we had the hot mic? We could hear what you said when you scored.
And he's like, dang, that's game. And
So the tiebreaker, so head to head, they split the head to head series. Best win loss percentage in division games. They are tied at the division games. Strength of victory in all games, combined record of opponents and wins. That's I think that's where so they're tied in that I think as well because I think they've lost to the same three teams. They both lost to the Defenders twice, and then I think they both lost to the Vipers once. And then best combined ranking amongst teams in points scored. That's where the tiebreaker is, and that's why that field goal mattered so much to the Dragons.
yeah,
So
because it's
because so they're combined. So the tiebreakers are a little bit finicky, a little bit weird, but I think the Sea Dragons, as long as they win, they are making the playoffs. But obviously, do
well,
not quote me on that because
it's
I
kind
do
of the
not
same
know. I do
thing.
not know for sure.
It's kind of the same thing in NFL too. Like you got two teams that's like say you got two teams that's vying for a wild card spot, and they both got the same record. They got identical things, like stuff like that. Then all of a sudden, what's the one thing that separates you from the other team? And it's like, all right, what's your in division record? What's your
Yep. Yeah.
so it's kind of like that. Like it's not uncommon. It's not as uncommon as folks may think it is. Like I just think they
Well,
are,
I think at one point I think there was like a coin flip scenario in the NFL, which is one of the tiebreakers. So
and
I don't think it's going to get to that point, but
that's like excuse me, the coin flip. That's like the last
yeah,
extreme.
yeah.
So if it's like if the records are the same, point differentials the same, in division records the same, interconference records the same, out of conference records the same, then all of a sudden, all right, heads or tails, god damn it. Like one of y'all is going because both of y'all can't go. And
Yep.
then it's literally coin toss. Then
So
that's when the coin toss
we'll
comes in.
see, we'll see how things end up shaking out next week. Let's talk game ball. TJ, you want to go first with your game ball?
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna give it to Pearson. He just had a hell of a game. He was basically uncoverable. Obviously, when you play Seattle, I know he's had his troubles and whatnot, but that's still Josh Gordon, and I'm still gonna design my defense like I don't want him to throw to Josh Gordon. I don't want Josh Gordon to have a big day. He's gonna have to beat me throwing Ja'Cory Peterson. Hey, Peterson, if he has 7 for 115 and he does all that stuff and they win, hey, but I'm not letting Josh Gordon go off on me like that. Yeah, but Ja'Cory Peterson. Pearson.
I'm staying in the same game. I'm going to give my game ball to the Nooch. Ben DiNucci. Let's go. 260 yards and the walk dagger touchdown for Mr. Nooch. Yeah, he's probably still. He might have a second say of the MVP. I know we kind of sorted up last week.
Yeah, with Jordan Teamu.
But I think Ben DiNucci's. I don't think his.
But I still think Teamu's got it locked. Like
I think so too. But I think
best record in the league. He's
only thrown 1-2 picks all season long. So, like for real. But yeah, moving on to week number 10, the final week of the regular season. We got 2 Saturday games, we got a Sunday game, we got a prime time game that could decide a playoff spot. Let's start with Saturday. This kicks off at noon. We got the Guardians and the Battlehawks doing battle in St. Louis. I'm taking the Battlehawks. They need this winner. They need this victory in the worst way.
And if I'm Orlando, hey, F that. I'm not going. Y'all ain't going. Play spoiler. Like
100%. I mean,
I'm talking like pull all the tricks out the bag. The reverses, double reverses, fake punts, fake field goal. Like
whatever you've been holding on to in that bag of like that little the back of the playbook, right? Whatever's in the back of the playbook, the stuff you just mess around with in practice. Like let's roll it out.
The rainy day play. That's what I call them. Hey, I'm saving this for a rainy day.
I'm taking St. Louis. I think they'll play with some desperation. This game is in St. Louis. I expect that crowd to be raucous. So continue checking that out. Over there now at 3:00, we got the DC Defenders going up against the San Antonio Brahmas. Defenders with basically nothing to play for here. San Antonio Brahmas need a win and a Renegades loss in order to keep their playoff hopes alive. I'm not sure what the tiebreaker situation is with them, so we're just speculating at this point. But Brahmas, Defenders, this game is in San Antonio in the Alamo.
The Alamo Dome.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll say if I'm DC, this is the last week. This is the last game. I'm basically sitting. I'm sitting my main component. So Jordan Teamu, Lucky Jackson. Well, no, that's not his name. Is it? Yeah, it's Lucky Jackson, right? Lucky Jackson, Abram Smith, whoever is your key contributors on defense. I'm not playing. Y'all ain't playing any at all. And if y'all do play, you ain't playing a lot. Playing like De'Aaron King, you probably gonna get the rest of the snaps outside of the first 2 drives, and then everybody else because we're not playing for nothing. We gotta we accomplished everything.
I think you just play just enough to keep you in rhythm for your offense because it's not like you have the week bye. Like you still have to play next week, and you might have to play this team actually. So what do you think the set? Or no, they wouldn't have to play this team. I don't know about it. I think the DC Defenders I actually think they go for the win. And I think they, to keep this rolling. I think they win the game. I think they end the Brahma season. DC Defenders, because the thing is, like, if you end up like, let's say the Brahmas go to the championship game, like, in the DC Defenders, like, man, we could have eliminated this team 3 weeks ago, and here they are in the championship. I think. I don't see it happening, even though the Roughnecks have been really struggled as of late. But I'll take DC to win this game.
Oh yeah, of course. Like, no, I don't even think that's a. Come on, man.
True. To Sunday afternoon, we got a 3:00 kickoff Eastern Standard Time. We got the Roughnecks going into Arlington, taking on the Renegades. Renegades try to keep their season alive, a win, and they're in. The Roughnecks, they're in. They have everything locked up. They got home field in the first round. There's no chance for them to move up. Like, they can't. Like, this is what that is. if you are the Roughnecks, how desperate though do you want to play well in this game, given how you
Oh, you
played?
gotta you gotta have a great game. You can't. A good game is not good enough. You gotta have a great game. You gotta look like that roughneck team that started off 4-0. You got to go back to that team, right? And luckily for you, this is one of the teams that you caught early on in in that flurry that you started off 4-0. You because they made Drew Plitt's life a living hell. I watched the game.
Yeah,
It was bad.
that was bad.
It was bad. Like good is not good enough. You have to dominate this team. You going into the playoffs, which is literally the following week, you have to dominate this team, and whoever you end up playing in that playoff game, which is probably going to be a rematch against Seattle, which is where all your problems
No,
started.
they would actually play Arlington again probably if they beat Arlington. Potentially they could play Arlington again next week.
How do they play Arlington if
They're both in the South. All three of these teams are in the South.
Arlington's not eliminated with a loss?
No, if the Brahmas lose, the Arlington gets in regardless.
That okay, I get you. But
Yeah.
either way, you got to Houston. You got to win this game.
I gotta say I think they need
I
to
mean,
win the game.
Houston's in it. Houston's in regardless. Win like whether they win or lose, like they're in regardless. But yeah,
I'm actually gonna take the Renegades to win this game. I think they play with some desperation. Ever since they got Luis Perez, their offense has looked a little bit better. So I'll take the Renegades to win the game. I think they beat the Roughnecks, and the Roughnecks continue to kind of cripple themselves into the playoffs.
that's not saying much. Like Luis
I
Perez
know.
comes in, and
I know.
all of
I
a
know.
sudden the offense looks a little better. Like what's
A little bit, a little bit. I don't know. Like they went from, really struggling to just being like at least some serviceable on offense.
service?
I don't know, man. To the final, I don't know. Who did you make a pick in that game?
Because like it's the same issue. Like I forgot Houston's quarterback. Like he started off looking good too.
Brandon
Yeah.
Silvers.
And then all of a sudden it's like, what the hell is that? Like,
Yeah, I don't know what happened to Brandon Silvers, dude. Like he was like rocking, dude, and then
all of a sudden,
somebody must have told him that his hot mic was like catching f-bombs constantly, and like ever since that he's just falling apart.
it's like what the hell is that? Like I'm telling you, man. Like that game against Seattle, kind of that was the downfall because they look so untouchable, they look so unbeatable. Then all of a sudden they lost, and then they lost convincingly. Like that'll shake up some nerves, don't you think?
Oh, 100%. I think they for sure have gotten shaken up.
But because they've owned this team, bro. Like they have. Yeah. Arlington can't see them, bro.
They really basically own the entire division. I mean,
Arlington can't see them, bro. I'm going Houston, and Houston really should be like, hey, man, we beat them twice already. They're not going to beat us. They're not going to beat them.
To the final game, also for a playoff spot, we got the Vipers looking to play spoiler against the Seattle Sea Dragons. This game is on ESPN2. It is on prime time, 7 p.m. kickoff. I'm going to go Sea Dragons. I think Ben DiNucci puts an MVP type performance in this game. Give me the Nooch and the Sea Dragons to win this game against the Vipers. I do think the Vipers come out and play hard, but I just don't think it'll be enough to beat the Sea Dragons, who are they're the second best team in the XFL.
Yeah, Seattle should win this game going away. Like Vegas might hang in there, they might make it competitive, but at some point in time, St. Louis, Seattle's going to pull away, and yeah.
And the Nooch, baby, Ben DiNucci. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. But yeah, that's been our Week 9 recap, Week 10 XFL predictions. Thank you very much for checking us out here at Prime Sports World. Please like, share, and subscribe. And we'll be back here tomorrow talking about the NFL draft, which is only 8 days away now, or 10 days away. 9. I think 9, because next Thursday is under single digits here for the NFL draft. We're going to be talking about defensive prospects. You want to miss that content? I've been David Huppin right there. It's my co-host, Mr. TJ Hopkins. And TJ, what would you here at the Prime, my friend?
We bring the heat, and this game is over. They are dismantling the Knicks, and it was expected though.
Yeah, it bounced back after a tough game one.
It was kind of officiated differently. Like they allowed the Cavs to be just a little bit more physical. You know how it goes.
Yeah, I know how it goes. We'll be back on Thursday talking about the NBA, so don't want to miss that content either. I will see you later, man. Have a good night.